We welcome to the program Associate Editor of Canucks Army. He's your partner from time to time on Rink-Wide Vancouver, and we love what Tyson Cole is doing post-game after every Vancouver Canucks contest with his Cole's notes. I mean, I was right there on it. See, hi, Tyson. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. Big fan of the show, and it's nice that a familiar face on Rink-Wide is here with me, too.
Yeah, and you've been doing great work on Canucks Army and for us with Rink-Wide, so we wanted to bring you in. First of all, give him the Cole's notes from last night against Philadelphia.
Well, first off, Cole's notes, you're right. It was kind of sitting there on a silver platter, but you got to compete at Canucks Army with Patterson's Point and Wags Weekly, so had to come up with something myself. I honestly didn't have a lot to start the game. I mean, didn't really feel like the Canucks showed up until later in the second period. I don't know. They had one high danger chance, and I mean, you got to credit Toccet. We saw it here in Vancouver. He likes to protect the guts of the ice, and that's exactly what he did in the first two periods.
Zegras, Tyson, you wrote about him as well, and I can't help think that there's a bunch of Canucks fans going, man, this guy was available and could have helped. Trevor Zegras, is he? And he's big buddies with Quinn Hughes, I learned this week as well. Is Trevor Zegras one who got away?
I mean, absolutely. I wanted the Canucks to trade for him. I thought he was kind of exactly what they needed. They needed skill, and they didn't have a lot of it, and he was available. There wasn't a lot available this offseason, especially down the middle. And he went for a very low price, second-round pick, fourth-round pick, Ryan Poehling. You don't think, would you have done that if it was Aatu Räty, like another young center? I probably would. Ratu's finding it hard to get in the lineup right now, and that was a low price to pay, and you probably don't make that move to get Evander Kane if you do so. So, I mean, watching him last night, he's on a wicked point streak and leads the Flyers in points. It's just a huge missed opportunity for the Canucks.
Thought he was dangerous, too. He only had an assist, but I just thought his transporting the puck and making things happen. And it was impossible to watch last night's game without watching it through that lens of, Rick Toccet's now coaching on the other side. But I thought it was funny. The first goal, the game opening goal, drive to the corner, back to the point, a slap shot, guy goes to the front of the net, all of the Rick Toccet staples basically rolled up in the one ball. And then the 2-0 goal where the four Canucks are standing around. You mentioned the guts of the ice. Toccet probably was like, hey, I remember that team defending that way. But they had to do a better job. Carl Gunstrom just able to, whack away until he finally was able to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, it was vintage Canucks a little bit. They had that stretch there on the road trip where they didn't allow a ton of high danger chances, and then it just kind of seemed like they were a little slow, especially Zeev Buium. That was your guy. Yeah. You can't, no fault to him. I mean, he's still a 20-year-old. It's gonna happen. Those growing pains are gonna happen, but. It wasn't very exciting by any means. The defense kind of showed, what they have been for most of the season. And, it was the end of the road trip, right? It was a long road trip, Christmas right around the corner. So maybe they didn't, have enough juice in the tank. I don't know. It just wasn't a great performance for the Canucks defensively.
And I think it's fair to say with Buium at 20, with Elias Pettersson, I mean, really hasn't even played a full NHL season, right? Mm-hmm. And, of course, with the other young defensemen that they're going to play, Willander in particular, they're going to be nights like this,
sure,
right?
Absolutely.
Tyson, this is part of the growing pains, I guess, Canucks fans are just going to have to stomach by playing, half your defense corps being so young and inexperienced.
Yeah, and I mean, let's go back to the Quinn Hughes when he first started, right? He was known as this offensive defenseman who kind of lacked in the defensive zone. Obviously, he grew up into being a better defensive defenseman, but it's going to happen. Like you said, Zeev Buium's only 20 years old. Elias Pettersson, I believe, is 21, and Tom Willander's around the same range too. That's what you're icing. That's what you should expect from night in and night out. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. This team is supposed to be in the transitional period. You want your defensemen to go out there, make mistakes so they can learn from it and hopefully come out better on the other side.
Yeah, and especially if they're offensively inclined defensemen are going to help help push the puck, transport the puck, gain that offensive zone, and create something offensively. I liked this from Cole's notes last night as well. Since the Hughes trade, the 5-on-5 scorers for the Vancouver Canucks, Liam Mogren step right up, 2 goals. Max Sasson step right up, 2 goals. Singles for Evander Kane, Kiefer Sherwood, David Kampf, Linus Karlsson, and Drew O'Connor. Who's missing from that list, Tyson? My goodness. There are some highly paid wingers and some profound slumps right now for Vancouver.
Yeah, and it's confusing. Like, because you watch the Canucks and their best shifts are from the bottom 6. It's not the top 6 guys. Jake DeBrusk isn't going right now. Besser isn't going. What is it, 1 goal in 18 games now? Connor Garland, he did score, but I believe it was an empty netter. So I didn't include that. But yeah, none of the big guys are going. And that kind of brings me to another point where you got to start making trades, I think. You got to start getting some of these more veteran players off the roster so then you can move these guys up, move the young guys up who are actually producing and see what you got in them. Because sure, the road trip was nice. You get 4 out of 5 wins. That's great. And that pushes you kind of closer to the playoffs, but like, don't lose what this team is, right? Like where this team's going. They're going towards a retool hybrid, whatever they call it, whatever it is, because there's got 40 names for them at this point. But you have to see what you have in some players. And Nils Hoglander being out of the lineup, that's not a good thing either. He's only 25. He's making $3 million. Like, is that a contract that they're going to regret soon? You got to get some of these guys in. And then Pettersson's coming back. Like, and don't you want to see Lekkerimaki in the lineup? See what he can do. Like,
we talked about Lekkerimaki yesterday on the program. He had scored in 5 straight in Abbotsford, and you've got to be able to make some opportunity for him. You've already got a first-round pick invested in him, and he does stand as one of the guys who you anticipate will be here in the future when a brighter day comes. Jeff?
Well, I just want to go back to Hoglander for a sec because I was willing to buy the explanation on Saturday. Adam Foote said, back-to-back games, 3 and 4, coming off ankle surgery, thought it was too much. They sat him down, and maybe it's as simple as, hey, they beat the Bruins, come back with a winning lineup, but that was a coach's decision then against Philadelphia, a $3 million player who, let's be honest, 5 games hasn't done much, but you give him a little bit of leeway coming off the injury here, but this is now 4 NHL head coaches for this player that don't see this guy as an absolute lock to be in the lineup every single night. What is Nils Hoglander's future, do you think, with the Vancouver Canucks, or is there one?
Yeah, I still think there is one, for sure. Because the 2 guys that they're likely going to move off, Sherwood and Kane, that obviously opens up a spot for Hoglander. But I don't know, like, I quite like what I'm seeing when he's out there. Like, he's so tenacious on the forecheck. Like, he's good along the walls. That's what I want. Like, he's a little powerhouse, even though he's not the tallest guy. Like, he'll disrupt the play and everything. And so to me, that's something you want in the lineup. But I don't understand how, maybe the coaches see it differently. And I mean, I'm not a coach, so obviously there's something I'm missing there. But I still think that you want a guy like that because you put him higher in the lineup. You put him with Pettersson last season toward the tail end, right before he got injured, and they were producing. They were the best line that they had, and they almost dragged them into the playoff race, right? So he has that in him. But it is definitely alarming that he has been through 4 head coaches and he hasn't become a mainstay necessarily.
I'm with you, J-Pat, in terms of completely understood what Foote was saying on the first scratch. A little more curious on the second
on his birthday, though.
I know, that was the other thing.
But the other thing,
put out the birthday post for him, and then here's the lineup. And
the other thing is that, so let's just play the game. All right, you want Hoglander in your lineup. Who's coming out? The guys that he's battling with. Ogren, Karlsson,
You're
O'Connor.
not taking them out.
Like,
nope.
Sasson's in the center, but like those guys are producing right now. As you said earlier, it's not the bottom of the lineup that has failed this hockey club. We said the same things about Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes didn't fail the hockey club. The bottom 6 of their forward group, they've got lots of candidates. It's still kind of hard, I think, to figure out what is their optimal bottom 6. It's that top 6, but ultimately, they got to sort that out, and I just don't know how they go about making their top 6 a whole lot better.
So let's give him some time here. Like, this was a surgery injury, right? So it could well be that he just requires more time. I guess the good news is he doesn't kill you at a $3 million price tag going forward because the cap is jumping so significantly. You're not entirely daunted by the salary, but boy, if he's not an every night player, that's a very expensive spare for you. And I don't know, Tyson, like for me, if you're engaged in a hybrid retool,
can you define that for me?
I'm about to ask you our poll question asking just that, or if you even understand it. But if you're entering a hybrid retool with a mid-20s player that now a fourth coach, as Jeff notes, doesn't view as an every night regular, he's got to be available, right? If somebody's willing to take a shot on Nils Hoglander?
I guess so. And if I was another team, I would probably look into it, because of all the things I said before. Like, I quite like the player. He brings a lot of, the hard to play against kind of player in the offensive zone. And I don't, at this point, I think everybody should kind of be available with how the team's playing, especially like their top guys. Like, I thought about this during last night's game. Like, how many players on this team would you actually consider to be like a first line player on, a Stanley Cup contending team? Playoffs, sure, but Stanley Cup, like, I found it hard to find more than one. Like, maybe Elias Pettersson, but we haven't seen him in some time. But they do have a lot of middle 6 wingers, right? And that's kind of where I see Nils Hoglander fitting in. And if you can get him, you can get a return on him with wanting to play the young guys, then if you can, why not?
It's a great question. Is Filip Hronek a top pair right side defenseman on a cup contender? I think he's pretty close, isn't he?
Yeah, I
like, he's not a number 1 defenseman, but is he a number 2?
I think on a lot of teams he would be a pretty solid number 2.
Yeah, I think that as well. And Filip Hronek's having a pretty darn good year.
He had a tough night in Philly, but he's allowed to because you're right. He's had a nice run here.
In a season where not a lot of Canucks are having great years, Filip Hronek, I think, is having a good one. Okay, Tyson, time to ask you the daily poll question here, and you've referenced it already. When you hear Patrick Allvin say, quote, retool it a little bit with a hybrid form, what is your reaction? Our options on the poll are like, dislike, want to puke, or don't understand. But feel free to go off the board here, my friend. It's Christmas, after all.
Can I go all of the above except for like? I don't understand what it means at all. If I'm guessing, I'm going to go with it's just saying retool without saying retool, because that's what they've taken the most flack for. The organization has over the last few years of, we're not rebuilding, we're retooling. So now we put a new word in front of it, and hopefully it's better received. I don't know what it means. Like, is it quicker? I have no idea.
I think we talked about this in the opening segment. I think it's their way of saying we're not taking it down to the studs for a rebuild, and we're feeling pretty excited about 4 straight wins, so maybe we can bounce right back.
But you have to be, like, if you look at the underlying numbers of that 4-game road trip, sure, it's great. You got 8 out of 10 points, but I wrote these stats down. Over those, they're dead last in 5v5 shot share, scoring chances, 3rd last in expected goals, 4th last in high danger chances, 5th last in shot attempts. Corsi, like, you're not that good.
All roads lead back. All roads lead back to the top of the lineup, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. Like, and you're giving offensive numbers there. they gave up 80-plus shots over the last 2 games as well. Like, Boston had 42 and Philly ended with 39. Like, again, not sustainable to think that you're going to have success if you're giving up 40 shots a night.
No, I don't think so. Lastly from me, Tyson, but we saw Rick Toccet last night. Of course, we will see him at Rogers Arena a week today, December 30th. The Flyers are in town. What kind of reception do you think he'll get from the home faithful at Rogers Arena?
Well, when they do their tribute, normally you get it's all good things that you see. So I'm expecting a good reaction, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bad one because, like you guys had mentioned earlier, they gave him an offer he couldn't refuse and he refused it. Like, he didn't want to be here. Now, it's probably because he knew the writing was on the wall with Quinn Hughes and, all these other things. Couldn't coach Petey, didn't want to coach Petey, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, he left the team, gave up on the team, and now this is where they are. So I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't a good one, but I feel like fans will remember, hey, Jack Adams award-winning season, second round of the playoffs, 1 goal within the Western Conference Finals. So I think they'll give Toccet his flowers.
All right. I understand you're headed to visit some family over the holidays here. Not in on Rinkwide over the next couple of shows.
We'll
at Tyson I hope so. At Tyson _ Cole. Cole's notes post-game after every Vancouver Canucks game, and you can also find him at Canucks Army. Buddy, thank you for this. Merry Christmas. All right, travel safely. Look forward to catching up in 2026.
Thanks so much for having me, guys, and Merry Christmas to you too, and to all the listeners at S&P.